Welcome to the Co-op Kitchen. Today we're going to be making a raw pie. This pie is actually going to be a mango and blueberry pie. And we're going to start off with the crust, which consists of almonds, dates, flaxseed, and cinnamon. And what we take is 2 cups of almonds that have been soaking overnight, so they're rehydrated. So we're going to add those to the food processor. What we need to do is turn that almond into a flour, consistency of a flour. It won't be as fine as flour, but we can get it down to closer to a meal, like an almond meal. So I'm going to put that in the food processor and let that run and see if we can get that together. So now that should be ready. Almonds have they should stick together when you test them. You should be able to mold them. So they become a meal, and it's almost like a dough already. You should be able to mold it actually. Right now I'm going to add a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of flax seeds. I'm using golden flax seeds. I don't think it matters whether you use golden or brown flax seeds. I just happen to have golden available. So I'll put in golden flax seeds. Flax seeds create a sort of they become a bonding agent in the crust to help it stay together as it dehydrates. So we're going to add flax seed. I'm going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon. Gives it a really good flavor. Some people add a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm not going to add vanilla today just because I don't have any right here in front of me. If I did, I would add it, but I don't. 1 cup of dates that have been soaking overnight, so they're rehydrated as well. So they'll actually become the, I hate to say it, they'll become the glue to the crust. The dates, the paste, they will create the paste, and we'll be able to manipulate the crust in the pie plate. So all that goes back into the food processor and turn it on. This takes a little bit of manipulation. So you want to start adding water. I'm going to add a tablespoon of water right now. 2 tablespoons. What's happened is it's become a paste, so it's sticking to the outside wall of the food processor. So now I'll just take the lid open and I'll turn it off first, and I'll move it back towards the center where I can continue the process. Alright, so now we've finished processing our dough. I just put it in the plate so it's easy to see. What I like to do is start in the center and work it around. So you just press it down and spread it through the bottom of the plate. What some people do is they might oil the plate with coconut oil or olive oil because that'll help the pie not stick to the pie plate, the crust. I didn't do that today. I'm winging it. And whether or not, you usually want to dehydrate this crust. If you have a dehydrator, put it on the live food setting, which is about 105 degrees. But if you don't have a dehydrator, what you can do is warm your oven and turn it off, and then you let the crust sit in the oven up to 24 hours, I say. But you can keep checking it. It's really up to you how how much you want to try to make a more traditional crust. It won't ever become completely as hard or crusty as a traditional crust because it's not baking. So, but you do want it to be at least hard enough to hold the ingredients so it all doesn't become mush. So we're going to add wet ingredients in this raw pie, so you do need it to kind of hold its form. So you just continue to spread this around until you get to the point where you have completely covered the pan up to the lid, up to the rim of the pie plate. That's about as far as I like to take it. What I want to make sure is that I have a consistency all around. So what happens sometimes in the process of dehydration is the crust tends to crack. And that's when, probably because I let it dehydrate too long, because I really keep trying to get this like perfect crust, but in reality it should be a little moist, so you shouldn't get cracking. But you will get it if it's too thin. If you haven't spread the dough around evenly and you have really thin spots, one way to check it is you can actually take if you use a glass pie pan, which is what I suggest, you can hold it up to the light and you can see whether or not you have uneven distribution of the dough, because the light will start to shine through some parts of it. So I did that and it didn't look like I had any uneven distribution, so I'm happy with that. So you just continue to mold this around until you basically fill the mold. So now I've filled the mold. Now my crust is ready to go into the dehydrator or the oven. And we'll do that and let this dehydrate, and then we'll come back and we'll start with the filling. So now the pie crust is ready. It's dehydrated sufficiently. So now I'm going to start with the filling. This is going to be a mango filling with cherry topping. So it's all raw process. So I'm going to start by slicing some mangoes. I use 3 medium-sized mangoes to make this filling. And I'm going to use 2 cups of, I use frozen cherries. They're still raw. They're still applicable in a raw food diet because we just don't have cherries in season right now. I would try. Actually, probably would try blueberries if we had them. But I'm going to make a cherry frosting to go over the mango, and what I put into the frosting is half a cup of dates and a dash of cinnamon. So we'll start by slicing some mangoes, and then we'll fill the pie, and then I'll cover it with the cherry frosting. Hey. I think it's best to slice them sideways along this side. I think that gives you your best slice for the filling of the pie, because we'll need to do a layering in concentric circles inside of the pie. So I think this is the best way to actually slice it. Okay, so now we have our mangoes sliced and ready, and we're going to start to layer the pie. And it's pretty easy. I like to start from the center. It's almost like putting a puzzle together. I'm going to work my way out on each layer. And you're not going to get perfect circular slices every time. Sometimes you'll have pieces, but that's good because then you can just fit them in areas where the circles don't meet or don't close. Okay, so now we've filled the pie with mango, all fresh mango. As you can see, we've kind of created a circular pattern going all the way around until we layer to near the top. So now we can start working on our cherry raw topping or frosting. So we have 2 cups of cherries that we let thaw out a little bit. They were frozen. We're going to use about half a cup of dates. Some dates that have been rehydrated overnight. So we have about half cup here, and I'm going to add to that, I think, a half teaspoon of cinnamon. Take all of that, run through my food processor. Now I have my cherry topping ready. I'm going to spread it over the top of the pie. The consistency is a little thin. It can be a little thicker if you want. You can add a little bit more date. I like this consistency because it's not going to be too sweet, but it allows me to spread really easy, and it will create a marbling effect as it falls through the cracks that were left by the mango, because they weren't a solid surface, so you can completely fill the pie. So you just spread it around evenly, and what you'll find is that the color of the mango really starts to come through, so you can create interesting patterns if you want. If you're doing the pie for an event, you're doing catering, you really want it to look nice, you can create patterns on the top of the pie. So I'll just work this around, make sure we get some everywhere. You want to fill up every space that you can. What this is going to do is start to seep down into the pie, and eventually it gets to the crust and it moistens the crust a little bit, so the crust is absorbing some of this frosting as well, and it just creates a really great flavor overall. Now you can get really fancy with the pie and garnish it with mint leaves or parsley even. Some people do little slices of lemon peel or orange peel to give it some color. But for the most part, this pie is ready to go in the refrigerator, and I let it chill for another hour or so, and then it's ready to eat. So there you have it. Raw cherry mango pie.